Here's what I forgot to tell you. Getting on the floor for me had been a task that I had dreaded for a long time. Not because I don't like getting on the floor, but it was something that was really impossible for me because of the lack of dexterity as a quadriplegic. Doing anything is a chore, but since the past year, I have really dedicated myself, with the help of some friends, of course, to getting on the floor, doing some floor activities, getting myself uncomfortable really. And the whole idea is to go from point A to point B. So now when I do transfers, right, transferring either from my wheelchair onto my bed or sofa is something that I don't have to think about anymore, because I've practiced so much that it's second nature now, and it's one less thing for me to worry about. So again, it's all about trying to find independence in my life again, and any little thing that I can change, any little thing that I can do for myself, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel accomplished, that at least I'm working toward a goal. So the goal for me now is to comfortably go from the floor to the chair. So I made a promise to myself at least twice a week for me to go from the floor, to attempt going from the chair to the floor to the chair. Again, every time I do it, there's never an easier way of doing it. Sometimes I get lucky by thinking, oh, that wasn't so bad. Some days it becomes a process. But of course, the thing is, how can you get better at something if you're not training to get better? So I guess that's the discipline I have, the mentality that I have, is that the frustration, the challenges are gonna take place. But if I wasn't doing it, then the learning experience wouldn't take place. So trying to make myself an expert or more efficient wouldn't happen if I didn't attempt. So I think every time I get frustrated, I try to remember or remind myself why I started to begin with. So by remembering why I started, it kind of helps me, or it helps nudges me forward. So that's basically the motivation here. So this morning, I'm gonna make an attempt, mainly just to get on the floor, and whatever it is I do on the floor is a bonus, but the idea is just to go from point A to point B. So I'm gonna show you how I do it. Hopefully I don't embarrass myself too much. Okay, so come. So I have my mat. I usually just put this on the floor. Again, it takes me a few minutes just to organize it. All right, so that's it. The mat is on the floor. All right. This is a rope that a stretch band that I use sometimes just to stretch my shoulders. So I always keep it close by. Should I need it. All right, so this is where I'm gonna make an attempt to go down. on the so I have a wood floor, and with the wood floor, it's a very shiny wood floor. Most of the time what ends up happening is that my feet just slides, whether or not I have socks on or not, or bare feet or not. But today I have socks on, so that creates even more of a problem for me when my feet are sliding, unless it's on the mat or I have shoes on. And I usually don't wear shoes in my apartment. Well, it doesn't really matter because I don't step on the street, but it's a way for me to just keep the apartment clean. So anyways, I am gonna make an attempt to come down on the floor, and here we go. So again, I've seen other videos on YouTube, how different people do different transfers. So everybody have different technique. If you can create your own efficient technique, then you do it. But I think that, you know, we can all learn from each other. So the way that I'm showing you, or what you will see, would not be the best, but it's just like I said, I haven't perfected it yet. The whole idea is to be consistent in my approach, to eventually to figure it out where things are much easier. So that's what I'm doing right now. Okay. All right. So before I come down, what I normally do is I will take my feet off, and I try to scoot my butt as far out in front of the chair as I can. This makes it easier. So okay, so I've done that. I'm on the edge of the chair now. I'm gonna take my right arm, cross it over my feet, just to push it down on the floor, right? And then slowly lower myself. And then my left hand on the floor, right? So now I've got synergy, right? My leg is sliding. So I'm gonna bring my my right foot back on the wheelchair footrest. Maybe that might help. You see that? You hear that noise? I don't know if you can see it, how it's moving. So that's something that I'm used to. So during these transfers, that happens a lot, and it makes it very difficult for me to either get on the floor or to transfer back onto the chair. But I gotta do it. All right, so what I'm gonna do, since my hands are planted, I'm gonna try to lift. So my butt okay. I came down a little harder. Than I wanted, due to the fact that, you know, as I was coming down, again, like I said, I was fighting a great deal of spasm on my legs, and they really, when they kick in, it really makes it very, very difficult for me to transfer efficiently. So it's one of those things that I struggle with. All right, so the first thing I gotta do is to make sure that my wheelchair is in the right place. This seems about right. So I'm gonna lock the right brake first. Okay, so that's locked. And then the other brake. The idea, again, I don't want to end up making an attempt to get up and the wheelchair starts to slide. That's not gonna be good for me or anyone. So safety first. So now it's locked. Again, I think it's in the right place. The next thing I'm gonna do, I'm on the mat, so having the mat here makes, I would say it creates, helps me create a bit of friction because my feet wouldn't slide as much as it normally would if I was just on the wood floor. So now I'm gonna bend the knees. So what you want to do, or what I normally do, is to make sure that my knees are as close to my body as possible, because when it's that close, when I lift up, what ends up happening is that it helps me gain the clearance that I need. But if it's further out, then I don't really have any leverage to do anything. So I try to pull it as close to my body as I can. So now I have it here. I gotta secure these legs, and then this hand is gonna end up on the wheelchair. All right. So again, make sure everything is tight. It looks good to me. Right? So you see what's happening with, well, you can't see what's happening, but my left hand is gonna go behind me just to help me support back here, and then my right hand is gonna be, I see sometimes when I watch other videos, some guys or people have their hand right here, but I don't use here because I feel like, well, what if my hand slips off? Then I don't really have any fallback. But when it's here, I feel like it can't really slide, because what I'm doing, I'm not pushing my hand that way. I'm pushing down. I mean, you can do the same here, but I feel like this space here is a very small space for you to negotiate. But then again, like I said, you gotta find what you're comfortable with and make it work for yourself. So I'm gonna put my hand here. So hopefully I'm in the right place. Okay. And then lift. All right, so I'm in, right? Now I'm gonna slowly come up. Like I said, the only way of getting comfortable with anything is you have to put yourself to the test. You have to try it out, and if this is something that you're not used to, it's always good to always practice it with someone that you trust, someone that you can fall back on, because it took me a while. This is something that I'm still learning to master, and you can do the same thing. And just don't give up, keep fighting, keep pushing yourself. Until next time, okay, take care.